This is how much we know about movies. We just if you want a raw review of movies, you're getting it right here because we don't know shit.
Dad! Oh, fuck, I don't know, man. Is that like nostalgia purposes for kids these age?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We get that, Pop.
Fine, I'll Google it. Through the magic
you don't
of podcasting.
have to Google it. I'm just saying, just take it out.
No.
Not bring it out, or just be better prepared.
Shut your fucking mouth.
I am your father.
Man, sometimes I wish like things would stay at a simpler time mentality.
Welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. Yeah, I only have a few things I want to talk about up front.
Well,
nothing major.
How's the old baseball today?
It was good. Like I said, the outfield was a little bit was dry enough to like for the 25 feet that we needed for as far as he hits it off a tee and can throw it. So other than that, getting to and from it was a fucking wet mess. But it's fine. I mean, it's the one day it's going to be 60 until, later on in the week, and it's going to rain on the weekend again. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
We're not even in the rainy season yet. So, no, it was fine. Like we went to that clinic on Saturday, and like I got a chance to see him with the coaches and like, how he turns out, like how he listens and how he, follows instructions and what he can pick up. So, because like somebody asked, is he a natural? I said no, but he learns fast. So that's good. That's what I was trying to get him to do today. I was trying to get him just to throw it without thinking. Because when he thinks about it, he looks like a freaking crazy kid. But I'm like, just get it to me. Yeah. Just throw it. Like, just, the motion. I've seen you do it. And when he doesn't think about it, he freaking hucks it. And it's great. And it's, when he thinks about it, he's like stepping, but he leaves the foot out there. So he's like, and he's already like, so he just kind of puts a foot in front of him and throws it like, no, it's all in the motion. Yeah. But yeah, just don't think about it. Just throw it. It's throwing is a natural motion.
Yeah, don't break it down like steps. Just
right.
Make it kind of like a brush stroke.
It's not a golf swing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird when you finally get like, not even saying that I have remotely got this down, but like when you get chipping down, or like that one time where you've like watched a video where someone's like, hey man, do it like this, blah, 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 and you do that kind of herky-jerky motion and it actually like clips the ball right, and you go, I mean, I'll never be able to do that on a regular basis, but like, damn the people that like know how to like go, okay, I'm going to start at step 18 of my swing motion with the club here and then finish it. And it's like, nah, I can't do that. That's weird. Yeah, it's either you start up here or like maybe here.
Yeah, the fact that a golf swing is like 20 different steps, like all lined up and all have to be done exactly right or something goes wrong is what makes the game so friggin' infuriating. Mm-hmm. And if you do it right, you don't know what you put in and what you didn't. Like, what did I do different that time that made this perfect and didn't do it last time? It's like, I swear to God, do the same thing every time, and it is not the case.
Yeah, that's like, it's like skateboarding. Like, every so often, like, really good skaters kind of do it more often. But you, like, it's called, like, catching a trick. So instead of just doing, like, a kickflip, where the board, like, spins like this in the air, and then just like landing on it, like what happens is like as you're ollieing, the board is flipping, but your legs are already completely up in the air, and the board basically, you have popped it so hard it comes back up to you, and so you like catch the board midair again with your feet, and like cool skaters will straighten their legs back out so it looks like they're like pushing the board down, like which they are as they're landing, and like. As a skater, you would catch one clean like that, doing a kickflip or something that like, and you've done a bazillion kickflips, but you've never done them. You've maybe done 4 clean ones like that, and you nail it, and you're like, catch it, you're like, bam, and you go, and you like look down at your feet immediately to like see where they land, and you're like trying to go, okay, well, where was it when I put it down the first time? And like, you're like, how did I pop it? What rock did I hit?
Right. What extra kick, what extra push did I do on something? And what, that pisses me off. That's why golf is such an infuriatingly fun sport to play.
Yeah, it's like a very rewarding sport if you're good at it, and also a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, right. It's the best thing about it is it's a game you can play until the day you die. As long as you can walk, you're good. Mm-hmm. As long as you can stand upright, you can play it because you don't have to do anything crazy hard. My grandfather, he used to when he played when he was older, like he has 9 clubs in his bag and they all go 100 yards. Doesn't matter what club it is, it all goes 100 yards. But you know what? They go 100 yards straight in front of him. And so you got me and my dad who are hooking and slicing shit left and right. And he's like, Papa's just like, whack, 100 yards, whack, 100 yards, whack, on the green, putt it, par. Fuck you guys. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah, those are the days. That's the best thing about golf. But yeah, no, we're going to go ahead and just start the show. I'll just start it probably with that part of the story. I don't care.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was sitting here thinking in the back of my head, I was like, one of these days we're just going to have to put, like, Two Dads review best of before the clap.
Before the clap. That's a great... We'll just clap at the end. Don't forget. Don't click stop at the end.
Okay. And just kind of... Because we always end up telling, like...
Fun stories.
A fun story. Yeah. Or, you know... something that happened that day kind of thing, you know, that's always just like kind of off the wall out of nowhere or whatever, or it's actually like probably good dad stories, you know, like talking about your son at his baseball clinic and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, about that, like taking him, so he's 5. For anybody who's listening and doesn't know the ages of my children, he's 5, and this is the first year he's been able to be in like baseball. Like in fact, the funny part is they changed it this year that you could be 4 and start. So like, not only is he starting at 5, there's a bunch of 4-year-olds behind him who are also able to start this year. And it's like, well, crap, you're not the youngest guy here now. So now they're going to think you know what you're doing, which he doesn't, but he's learning well. But like I took him to this clinic this weekend, just kind of one of those things where no one's even split into teams yet. It's just kind of everybody show up, everybody learn the basic, you know, kind of just go through the basics and, you know, everybody get used to it. And I'm just like in an emotional mess because like I'm sitting there like watching him and I'm like, this is awesome. Like I'd already been like, because we went shopping for like because everything like for our area, for our county, like Dick's was like, everybody who shops today and tomorrow is like 20% off. You know, if you're signed up for this baseball league. Yeah. So like I was like, so we went to Dick's first, and like I texted my dad when I was at Dick's. I was like, I'm out baseball shopping with Dean and it's like this is the best shit ever. Like this is great. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know, you'll enjoy those moments. You know, some nice. So I'm sitting there at the clinic, and I'm like, and he's like, I see him like get something, like whether it be throwing or catching, and like I'm like, why am I getting misty? Like this is like there's a bunch of men around. I'm not getting misty, but I'm like, way to go, bud! Like I'm so proud of you. And I was just like, it was just great. It was a good time. So
yeah, man, I remember like kind of with Dino's, you know, his 4 and 5 little like rule change. So when I lived in Wyoming, they had junior high. What was it, middle school? So I was about to be an 8th grader, or I was about to be a 9th grader, and be like king of the hill out there,
which was top of the hill in junior high. Yeah, because it went 7, 8, 9, right?
And then it was 7, 8, 9. But like as a 9th grader, you went to high school to go play JV. Like they just you went and played sports there, and all of a sudden my dad got orders in the Air Force, moving out to VA. Hey, you're going to high school. I was like, huh? I'm like, what? And so I went to 9th grade.
But I was supposed to be the king.
I went to 9th grade in high school, and right back down to the bottom of that totem pole, man, just screeching. I was like, I never got my time to shine.
Yeah, I lost my chance. I was gonna get bussed over to the JV side. Damn it! Now I'm stuck in freshman whatever sport. This is bullshit. Yeah, that's an East Coast West Coast thing. Because you're right. Because like when I was in elementary school on the West Coast, it was like K through 6, and then it was 7, 8, 9, and then it was 10, 11, 12. Yeah. And on the East Coast, it's K through 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9th through 12th grade. It's weird, like how different like certain parts of the U.S. are, like when it comes to just things you take for granted. Like when we used to, I mean, our school system just finally adopted the fact, like next year we're finally starting in the middle of August, when everyone else is like, why are you guys still in school? We've been out of school for 3 weeks. We're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we're still in school. We got to go into school after Labor Day. And so there's only a few places to do that still. I just wish, okay, if you're new to our podcast, like, you're going to get some dad talk for a while. And this is some of it. There should not be, how is there not just year-round school?
I know,
with, like,
dude.
semester breaks?
Seriously.
Because,
I have argued this with people and, like, preached this, but the nice thing I think is that a lot of people that are our age now are, like, going into the schools that are, like, teaching, and some of them are even principaling, and, like, I have friends that are in our counties that are like, yeah, we need to just get rid of this break thing, because one, they're like, I want to get paid a little bit more on a regular basis, and it's like, would you just take them out of something for 3 to 3.5 solid months? It's like, what the fuck do you want me to do with them?
Right,
I have a full-time job. Like, you're telling me your probably arrest statistics in counties that are on like 3 months blocks versus like full-time schools, like, don't go up a little bit during the summertime on all these like 3-month and 3.5 month counties that are off, because there's nothing but 12 to 18-year-olds sitting at home, bored out of their fucking mind with nothing to do.
Right, watching their, quote-unquote, watching their younger siblings.
Yeah, and the last thing I want is a sibling raising another child. God, like, because they're like, because think about it, when you're a parent and you don't give a fuck, like, and I'm just talking when you go, hey, I'm going to take a moment off, and they're either going to learn their lesson or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still know you're going to pop up if something happens, but like that sibling,
if something's on fire, like, I'm going to be there to be
like that. The lizard brain part never kind of kicks in. They just go, I don't know. Something happened. They're bleeding. Like, you know, I'm like, why would anybody want, like, to go, I'm going to let that thing babysit that thing.
Right. Well,
other than, like, running to the store or something, you know, but, like, not all day while both parents are in a job.
Right. Like, I mean, and statistically, and especially in America, I mean, we have listeners who aren't in the States, but in America, it's the majority swings to both parents working, if there even are two parents in the house. I mean, really. Mm-hmm. And so if both of you are working full-time jobs with commutes and stuff, especially in the area we are in, you're gone from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. Like, what? And you have 3 months off. What kind of structures do these kids have in place? Because, like, you're lucky because you've got parents close. We don't have parents close that we trust with our kids for any extended amount of time. And they both have, and one of them has, you know, and that they're still working because we're in our 30s, they're in their 60s, they're not retired yet. So it's like, why are we still not just, I mean, because it's a lot easier to find childcare for like 2 weeks off. Like, if it's like a semester, 2 weeks off, a semester, 2 weeks off, it's a hell of a lot easier to find childcare for those 2 weeks than it is to find for 3.5 months.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, I mean, even like the whole daycare system would change if schooling was year round, you know, because there's like kids that are in school and then summertime rolls around and then all of a sudden their parents are like, all right, here's your $900 a month to essentially babysit my child, you know, because like they don't have any other option. And I'm not saying like teachers are babysitters. I'm just saying if you're doing full year round, like that eliminates that just kind of scenario happening, you know?
Right.
And then you only have to budget out for, like you said, a 2-week block. And, you know, most people could swing something like that. You know, if they needed to, or they could like make arrangement with grandparents or work and blah blah blah. You know, like it's just easier to manage.
Right. One parent takes 1 week off, one parent takes the other week off, and then you're not burning all of your leave for the year. If you work a job that has leave, which we understand, like I understand that not everybody works a job that has leave. They work a job that is hourly and you get paid. But yeah,
and we also work in a very military area Like, so it's just leave in general, and this is like just a term because there's so many military families, and you and you were military. I was a military brat. Like, I thought TDY was vacation for like the fucking longest thing in the world, you know? Like I didn't understand really what that was. I just thought it was like, all right, you're going to go, you know, whatever. You're doing some shit.
Right. Yeah, and so that kind of makes this summer hilarious because I think our kids have exactly 8 weeks of summer, and that's it. It may not even be quite. It may be like 7 weeks and 6 days. Like, it's nothing. Like, there is no summer just because they're having to switch from this long school year and starting the earlier start school year. So this is gonna be a nice summer. And also, we've told all the grandparents, like, hey, we're not going anywhere because by the time we get ready to go to your place the week before, go to your place for that week, and then come back and wind down from that. Like, summer's going to be over. Like, we're not going anywhere. Like, you want to see the grandkids? Come here. I can't do it this summer. Yep. Everything's changing. So yeah, it was a good time with the kids, with my son today, you know, doing the dad stuff. Cause I have an older daughter, but she's special needs. So we have our own special, like, firsts with her. Like, this is like my first time with like the standard stuff. Like, I have all kinds of special needs firsts with my oldest, but like Dean, this is like my first like normal kid stuff, and that's why I'm just like I'm too old and already like emotional. Yeah, I'm too in touch with my feelings now.
You've already been broken by the first child, you know, and like you've reached the point where you're like, no, I'm cool with where I'm at. Like, I'm good with this, and if I see some sweet shit and that tear wants to drop out, oh well, man.
It's happening.
You guys are about to look at a guy in a wooded hunting jacket with a tear strolling down his face, and
like what?
What? I like the way my son throws a ball. Piss off.
That's right. Yeah, it didn't help that we like watched like the second like Ralph breaks the internet, and like it was like touching at the end, and I was like, God, what is happening to me? I can't even do this anymore. Like, it was. You know, there's like a sweet ending to it. So,
oh yeah,
but
dude,
it was like
shit, man. I was laying more floor in my house this weekend, and like I hit the shuffle button on songs, not like playlist or anything, just like everything I've ever had that's been uploaded. I was like, shuffle. I'm like laying wood. All of a sudden, I'm like taking a moment to myself, and I'm like, shit, dude. I can't help but fucking cry with this song right now. This is really making me feel. And then I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs like, oh, DMX came on. By the way, toughest guy in this whole fucking block for fucking 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
It's like me and DMX on stage. That's what I'm feeling right now. Yeah, this is what
I essentially grew up with him. We were best friends right then and there.
Nice. Oh man, you want to? You know what? I'm gonna give some dad advice too, because my wife went to a baby shower a couple weekends ago, and for all the listeners who are a little bit younger and like you're in that group, you're that age group of all your friends are just starting to have kids, so nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. I'm gonna make you with some advice right now, the king of the baby shower. Don't bring, because they all want you to bring diapers. All right, don't bring newborn diapers, and don't bring size 1s. Bring size 2s and up. 2 to 3s, and like a box of that shit, and everyone's gonna look at you like you're crazy, because they're gonna be like, "Why the fuck did you bring 2s? Why the fuck did you bring 3 like size 3 diapers? Like that's still they're just having a baby. The baby's happening right now." But you know what? 7 months, 8 months down the road, you're gonna get a phone call, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, I'm so fucking thankful you bought this size 2s for the baby shower, because literally the kid, I swear to God, he was in 1s when he went to bed." He woke up and it wouldn't fit anymore. And now we had this entire box of 2s for you. So, because my wife went, and she's like, the kids that are having this baby, they're like in their early 20s. So, and my wife's, mid 30s. And so we're, done with kids. And so with all their little yappy friends are there with their fucking packs of newborns. So they got 18 piles of newborn diapers, which if she shits a big kid, the newborns aren't even going to be worth anything. Like, it's not even going to work. Like, here you go. Here's a whole pile of fucking stuff you can't even do. So then, you got some ones puts in there, but I think my wife brought like a giant box of threes, and everybody's like, it's like she's like, just fucking wait, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, no, I don't think I know anyone honestly under the age of like 30 at this point in my life. Like I honestly don't think I know one person that I talk to that is under the age of 30 and or that really hasn't already had children. So I'm lucky. Like, I don't ever have to worry about that. And also, I don't know anybody that would probably ever invite me to a baby shower in general.
True.
Like,
true.
even when like I was coupled and like dating during that whole like, oh shit, all the accidental pregnancies of our 20-something friends are happening, right? Like,
right.
I always stayed with like the people that already had kids. Like they would go to the party and I'm like, nah, you leave me your little ones. Like I'll hang the fuck back and chill with these guys for the day. And like I would just goof off with all my other ones like that I already had, because I had Aiden, so I was like,
my fun's over.
I'm good. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just give me your other ones and I'll play with other toys for the day.
I'm winding them all up, get them all hyper, and give them back to you guys.
What's unsatisfying about that? Like, I get to do cool shit and then send them back, and you get to send me text messages later of like, you evil bastard.
Yeah. No, well, this group, I mean, the people who she went to the baby shower for, they're the son. Okay, there's a grandmother in our circle of friends that's more of a grandmother to my kids than some of the actual blood grandparents.
Yeah.
So this is Grammy's son and his daughter.
Oh,
so
okay.
we know them through Grammy, not through them. I mean, it's not like they're not friends, but I'm not calling them to hang out on the way. I'm not calling a 22-year-old, hey, you want to hang out? But he did used to play at work at a golf course, and I always used to be like, hey man, why don't you hook me up with some friggin' free golf, dude? Never heard from him. It's like, well, okay, that's just checking.
Yeah, man. I mean, you gotta respect it. The guy's like, I work there. I don't play that game.
Yeah, you should have. Damn it.
Fuck your morals.
Exactly. If they're letting you play, they're just gotta look the other way. Or if I gotta play with you or go play somewhere else, like that's fine. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm trying to think like
expensive hobby.
Anybody I've known that's kind of worked at a joint like that, say golfing, maybe massage parlor, or like one of those.
How the hell do you group those two together?
Like one of those like Turkish, because they always have like a clubhouse, man, and like there's always a massage parlor like at the clubhouse, and there's always like some other dumbass amenity like a bathhouse or some shit. It's just weird. So like I went Turkish bathhouse, massage parlor, and golf course. I just kind of drove them all there, but like I always kind of got the hookup in it, or
that's nice.
Or somehow I went in there one time and like paid for it to go check it out. And the dude I end up talking to is like the owner. And I'm all like, man,
right.
And me, how I get when like I'm on something new that's interesting to me, I'm just like gushing about it. I'm like, man, this like shit's fucking cool, dude. Like the tile over here is like dope and sweet. And I like the steam and blah, blah, blah. And like, he's like, oh man, this is great. I really like you. I don't know why he's Russian in a Turkish bathhouse, but whatever. And like,
he's paying for college.
Yeah. But I would get like a free invite, or the next time I was in, like he would happen to be at the counter or something. He'd be like, no, he's my friend, let him through. And like I would never pay it something like that again. I was like, I know I have like shitty luck sometimes, but I also have like oddly really good luck on, I mean, not necessarily like life-saving usable things, but they're pretty cool adventures at the end of the day.
Oh man. Yeah. All right, so we actually have some Star Trek related news, just a little bit before we get into this week's episode.
Oh, you go.
Yeah, man, I gotta talk about it, dude. Because if you followed us since the beginning, we tweeted. I think you tweeted from our account. Maybe not. Maybe I forget if you tweeted at her from your account or if you tweeted at her from our podcast account. Anyways, at Two Dads Review on Twitter.
Are you talking about Miss Paulson?
Miss Paulson, when you tweeted at Sarah Paulson.
That was when you called me out for her cry face on one of the episodes, and she happened to see it and reply to it like, well, I can't really do anything because that's just my face. And I was like, God damn it, I really wish he would have kind of like typed the preface to like the rest of my statement or the ending to that my statement, not just like the middle section of the statement, like of I can't stand her cry face, and it's because I don't know what to do around women crying, or it makes me uncomfortable when I see her cry face. Like,
why would I want to put in the actual details of that conversation?
Yeah, so that's what she responded to.
Yep, she lit you up too. And we're like, oh, we're sorry, we love you, we love you so much.
Yeah, that one got a few comments from some of the fans, and I was just like, not how I meant it, but all right, guys, let's go with it.
Right. Well, this past week, before the episode that we knew was going to be Saru centric, I got a wild hair up my ass with this podcast Twitter account, and I tweeted at Doug Jones, who plays Saru, and because we had talked about a couple weeks ago during his almost death scene that his quarters looked like it was probably really moist, the deck below his quarters. So I asked him, I said, Doug Jones, maybe you could settle something for us after seeing Saru's quarters a few weeks ago. Do you think the poor ensign whose quarters are one deck below complains about the moisture issue? And he actually responded and said, with our technology, I'm sure we can handle all of my plant life without water runoff damage below. And giggling that you are discussing this. So yeah, and I missed my point of being like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? Should have done that at that point. Would have been the only time to actually do that, right after he responded. But yeah, such is life. And yeah, so it was cool to see him reach out. I think he was on Twitter a lot because he knew that it was going to be an episode where he is a main thing. And this week is a pretty damn good episode.
I'm trying to remember it.
All of Saru's homeworld shit.
I know, but like,
watching it the second time, it didn't quite get me as much as the first watch through of it. Like, and it's you know, because I thought, hey, maybe they'll spend a lot of time there next season. I thought they weren't even going to touch it again this season, but they went to it like 2 episodes later. So we know that. I mean, at this point, it's like the Red Angel is somebody who knows this story. You know what I'm saying? Because everything relates to the ship. You know, everywhere they go, it's something related to somebody specifically on that ship, practically. That they know they're the ones that can get to it, they can reach it, they can do it. I mean, we got to see
that just makes sense because that's who the show's based on. Like, I don't always like those kind of things. I almost always ignore because who else would it be based on? Like, we're not watching a show about some mysterious group of people that we've never seen. You know?
True.
So, like, but it is cool how we kind of got to, like, see it, and not just, here's what it is, and then we're going to throw a massive lens flare in front of it and fuck everything from your view site, you know?
You're talking the Red Angel?
Yeah, the Red Angel.
Yeah, because they used Saru's epic vision to be able to see it better. And so, you know, it looks like somebody in a spacesuit, like in some sort of not mechanized, but some sort of like spaceman suit.
It looks like a cool, like, if you made a mobile Gundam suit, like, less blocky. Like, that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, very slimmed down, you know, space type suit, time travel suit, really.
Yeah, and the episode was good. It was weird because I watched it, and I guess, like, I kind of expected a little. I just didn't think they were going to be locked in a metal shell in most of, like, Saru's time. And, like, the weird thing coming out of the, like, black goo and talking and stuff. And then when they, like, you know, kind of explained the whole scenario to me, it was. And I hate that I sound so snobby right now because it was just underwhelming because it was like, so the Saru's people were so badass that they almost decimated this group. But
right.
This group is somehow, like, staved off to become so technologically advanced that their little splinters section could then, like, get rid of them and then go, hey, we're now gonna start training for thousands of years. Like, I was just like, I get the conditioning thing of thousands of years of stuff like that, but if something's been that so alpha and it almost decimates something that apparently was that technologically advanced, to nothing, like they would have never survived. They would have never made it out of. To me, like Saru's people would have just fucked them. Like they would have just ended up being completely wiped out. Like the whole, they came back and like ended up taking over. I was like, it's just a little far, like almost too fucking far fetched for me at this point. Like, and I get the hidden message, like we can all change and learn to get along and blah blah blah. Like it was just kind of like I thought we would have maybe been like on Saru's place, and then I don't know. It just kind of wasn't what I expected. So the whole episode for me was kind of like what we talked about. So I kind of already knew it. So it's like the story's not really standing out in my head, because it was kind of like, hey, when we go to Saru's place, he's going to be like numero uno. It's going to be all about him and him saving the day and liberating his people. Like we know what that is. And then you get to see, the Red Angel stuff, and it's kind of like, all right, we're good.
Like we pretty much do that.
We're done, like we're it. And then it was kind of, hey, here's your preview for you're going to get Spock. Like
soon.
Like
next week, maybe.
It's pretty much the way like that trailer went was, we showed you this episode while we finished filming his stuff. Like he's here now. Like, kind of thing. Like, and I don't know. I mean, there wasn't a whole really, like, there was nothing that I remember, like, even off, like, the side storylines that was, like, subtle or something. And I don't know. Maybe I just kind of missed it. Like,
Did you fall asleep? No. Because,
and I watched it and I enjoyed it. I'm not trying to make me sound like I didn't like this episode, but there was kind of nothing that jumped out to me that made me go, I really want to talk about this. And, like, I was hoping when you start talking, I go, oh, yeah, that did happen. But, like, so far, I'm kind of just going, I mean, we got what we talked about after we kind of saw what happened to Saru. Like, you and I went, I bet this is what's going to be, blah, blah, blah. Then we maybe talked about some other crazy stuff, but then we literally got that episode.
Right.
And so I'm kind of like, shit, dude, I think we almost already talked about this accidentally.
Yeah. Well, and you're not, and I'm not going to try to convince you, because like I said, the first watch through, I think I was more into the fact that, like, I love what they did, like, for Saru's homeland, but I saw it in the short trek too, like the red beaches. It's very pretty.
This was a really pretty episode. Like, if you just talk about being the camera, like, there was a lot of really just cool shots in this, like, not even like trying to time something right, so you get the cool shot. There was just things where this is the way the camera pans and stops, and you could have hit pause at like any moment in that 8 seconds, and you were like, new desktop background.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, there was a lot of really cool camera stuff.
And you're right. Between the last episode, our podcast, and what we discussed about certain things, and the one before when Saru almost thought he was going to die, we did discuss a lot. Now, none of us guessed that the Baul Kelpian relationship would be what they revealed on this episode, which is nice, because I hate being right when it comes to things like that. Like, there was, we talked about, what if the Baul are just Kelpians after they've gone through their puberty or whatever? What if they are, they're not killing them, they're just bringing them to their ships and they're getting them working there instead of on, who knows? We went through a few scenarios, and it's and
I did dislike though in like the middle of the episode though. I went, oh, this is like a come full circle thing. Like, they used to be badasses, and then now they're the badasses, and now it's like, oh shit, they found out they're badasses. What do we do?
Right. Yeah, and I liked the reveal of the Baul. I guess what probably makes me second guess my initial, like, I did enjoy. We both enjoyed the episode, but I didn't like love it like I loved last week's episode, especially after the second watch. Is that they're not this story, all the stuff happening on Kaminar, which is their planet, everything happening there, we haven't even scratched the surface of it yet. Like, even though they've just gotten rid of their entire religion and everybody knows the new thing and it's all that, like, what happens from this point on, that's going to be the fun shit. Because you got a bunch of really angry post-pubescent guys running around with dagger teeth coming out of the back of their head as opposed to, threat ganglia before. So now he's got, like, they can, like, shoot killer darts, which was kind of fucking awesome. So, that whole what's going to happen within their society is going to break down because everyone's going to want to, be the alpha of everyone else. And it's not ever, you have a whole planet full of alphas now, and they're going to have a societal, while Saru is going to leave the planet and continue on the mission thinking he has helped his people, it's going to end up, at least at the beginning, like the adjustment period is going to be pretty brutal, I believe.
Yeah, most likely in all realities. But I, for some reason, think that anytime if we hear back about Saru's homeland, I think they're going to make the Kelpians just more intelligent than people expected, even though they've gone through these, like, now I have my muscles. I've hit puberty. Because it would kind of almost make them, like, go savage, just kind of like in Zootopia, right? And it's not like they were running wild.
I love that's the reference that you used.
Yeah, I'm a dad. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
I love this podcast so much.
But, like, I don't think it's one of those things where all of a sudden everyone's just, like, berserker now. Like, I think they're gonna paint it as, hey, look, we understand what happened. Yeah, that sucks, but we also know, based on previously how we acted, that's what got us here. So really the only course of action is this relationship. And yeah, and you'll probably hear maybe like some side comment like, for the first few months it was tough, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's like over, right? Like, I don't think they'll ever pan back to Saru's homeland and it's like, hey sis, what's up? And she's like, phew, ducking, like, oh, nothing, it's just fucking all out warfare, thanks a lot, man. Like, right. I don't think it'll do that. Like, because kind of when everybody reacted, like, all of them were more like, what?
Well, they were still looking to their the worst part, especially for Sarana, Saru's sister, is that they, after everything dropped out of their head, they were going to their spiritual leader for advice, and she's trying to comfort everybody, but at some point she's going to be the outsider as well, because they're like, well, you were part of the problem. When they, especially as angry as Saru got over all this, which he should. I mean, it's not like his anger is unfounded, but his ability to control that is definitely just him by himself. I mean, old boy was like stepping to the captain, which that scene was hilarious. I mean, not outwardly funny, but like I loved, like, as he got louder and taller and closer to the captain, like more and more people on the bridge were either turning around or standing up, like, do I have to fight this motherfucker now?
Yeah, like is he going to? Where do I stand on this? Because I don't know if y'all remember, it was probably like 9 months ago, but we all saw him run like 60 miles an hour, right? Like we all saw that. Like, I know new captain hasn't seen that, so I'm gonna go ahead and get in my sprinter stance just in case some shit goes down. Yeah. Also, isn't this that I liked, but I think it was this episode, or maybe it was last episode, but when like someone's calling in,
that's this one,
and
the captain's like,
and Michael goes, "We should take that," and like answers for him, like when the communications guy is like asking like, what do we do? And I was like, I know the show's kind of her story, but man, did that piss me off. Like, why like did someone not over her rank like go, yo, the fuck are whoa, yeah, stay in your lane, homie.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah, right. I'm one of the officers on this Starfleet. Like,
only if you're watching commercials right now do you get that joke, but God, that's the greatest commercials that are out.
I love.
Do you like the Doctor one, don't you? Guess who's reinstated? Well, not really.
Oh, yeah, the old Doctor guy's funny, but no, I love the new Hulu live sports commercials. Have you seen those?
Mm.
So there's like one, and it's like they're using basketball guys. And so they have like Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, and like one of them's like Damian Lillard like getting a tattoo, and it says like Hulu has live sports, and the guy's like, all right, can I change the font? And there's like an agent behind him. He's like, not if you want to get sued. And then he's like, what about if we do a tiger? And Damian's like, yeah, tiger, cool, man, awesome, blah blah blah. And like, of course, there's two other agents back there like, no, can't do anything, do that. And he's like, well, how much are they paying you for this? And like, Damian looks at the camera, and then you just see him going, Hulu has live sports, just firing money guns into the air, just shooting like dollar bills. And then like there's one where it's Joel Embiid, and their whole like gimmick is that we're like paying these guys a fuck ton of money to say this. And so it's Joel Embiid, and he's just standing there in like a news conference with a microphone all decked out in the Hulu gear, and he's like, Hulu has live sports. And then looks at the guy and like waves his hands, and they're throwing him like stacks of cash, and he's like, "Who has live sports?" And like another stack of cash gets thrown at him, and like I'm going, that's what advertising is. The fact that someone's just like making fun of that, and they're paying these guys bukus of bucks to say this,
genius.
Don't care. I was like, it's hilarious. I love it. Like I actually was like looking at the Hulu live sports packages because it was a funny enough commercial just for me to go, I'm curious how much that actually cost.
Right. That's funny. But yeah, back to Saru's being, so he's having a hard time controlling himself to a certain extent, especially with all of his time, in Starfleet, and he still is completely off character to a certain point. So a whole planet of that. Especially, I have, like I said, I know what you're saying about you hope it's just kind of like one of those, like, where it's like, yeah, it was a rough few months, but we all came together and figured it out.
I know. I'm with you that how it's going to be. I just think the way they'll write it is the way I said it. I think if they ever reference back to it, it'll be a hunky-dory kind of picture. We won't ever, what I really think would happen would kind of be this, like, more faction thing first until that sorts itself out, and then everything, but also because I'm also like, Starfleet pretty much was like, yo, we are intervening in this, we are now governing this,
kind of
like
not even like they really wanted to.
Yeah, I know, but they got forced into it, and now the fact that they're in it, there now is always going to be their presence. It's just not them. So that's why I think it'll always kind of be more of, if it's ever written, like, hey, Starfleet came in really and did their thing and worked it out, and everybody's peacefully going about their thing. Yes, there's contention, but everybody's sorting their business out. I don't think that you'll ever get a kind of like harrowing story for a little while to like, we eventually got it going though.
I think if this is episode 6, we know the 9 episodes we have left or whatever it is, like I doubt we'll come back. I don't think we'll come back this season. No, like I said, I expected them not to even come back.
I mean, I'm just like, if they ever come back to it, I think it'll be just a peachy story.
Yeah, I see. We saw one Baul, and considering like he had like robot eyes, like there's some people on the internet who are saying that possibly couldn't even have been the true form of them. It was just like their scary form. So like, they could like be little fluffy bunnies. We don't know, but we know that they're technologically advanced, and that could be like,
it's all like Chicken Little, Wizard of Oz.
Right. Don't mind the man behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just look at I mean, that's what it could be. That being said, that was, people were asked Doug Jones if that was him as well playing that character, just because of the gauntness of the guy who's playing it. And it actually wasn't, but it was a guy that he worked with 100 times before. His name is Javier Botet, which is, he played the guy he played Slender Man in Slender Man. He has a bone condition where like all his limbs are super long, and so like when Doug Jones found out that's who they cast, he's like, oh, thank God, because that's the only guy who could fucking do this, because he did not want to have to like get in the Saru makeup, then get out of it and get into like the black tar makeup and then do the counteracting to, you know, whatever he was saying. So with what was going on, and the fact he said they shot the short trek the same time they shot this episode. So the short trek that took place, they showed you the backstory of his time, because they already had the beach stuff, his planet stuff set up. So it's good that like they shot them all together. He's like, I could not have done the short trek and this, and then also played another character that had to be in giant amounts of makeup as well, and this, you know, black tar pit of goo. He's like, so that when I found out they hired this guy, he was over the moon about it, because they'd worked together on other freaky movies or shows they've been on together. But yeah, so that guy was that, you know, it was a cool look for the aliens, if that's their actual look. There's so much more to dig into with that whole planet in the background of it that I think it deserves more time, and they weren't going to give it to us this episode. There wasn't time to do that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not enough time to do anything remotely like further storytelling, because if they did, like what you were saying, they would have to do, you know, like talk about the turmoil and everything that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But if they don't, and they circle back to it ever later, and the fact that it's later, and they can really just kind of not tell us how much time has gone by at any point if they feel like it, you know, because they can just always write something wonky in a timeline. They could always do the kind of cop-out way of like, when they say it, everything just kind of seems to be in working order, you know? Mm-hmm. But I would love for it to be like, hey, we've circled back to this, and like, oh shit, we got alphas running wild, we got fucking crazy gooey black things like going bonkers too, and we have ones that have actually sided up that are all peaceful together, you know? It's like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's so cool to think about the what ifs with it, you know?
Right.
I just was kind of being a little negative Nancy there with the, I think if they ever came back to it, like they just would like beam in on the sister and everything would be cool, you know?
Yeah. I just see it being you know, Saru would have the time to, right now he thinks he's done the absolute right thing, which in the long run, it really is the right thing. But he's also like, he's come out of this like, oh yeah, I did everything wrong. Like I disobeyed orders and I did this, I did that, and everything came out all right. Only because they had like a friggin' save by the Red Angel at the end. But you know, he's come out okay on it. But at the end, he's gonna leave and then be like, okay, everything will be fine because my plan, everybody's where they should be, and then it's all going to be like a nightmare for some amount of time. And yes, you're right. He may show back up and like his sister's like some war-hardened like fucking general.
Like that would be sweet. I'd be like, yeah, nice, all right.
Yeah.
What's up? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, and maybe it was the way they kind of told you about Saru's character from the get-go. So he never seemed like super scary to me, but it's also the way the actor portrays Saru. Like Saru to me is just like a monocle and a top hat away from being like just upper class gentleman. Like he's tip top, like awesome. And his face, right? Like his face never was a boogeyman face to me.
Mm-hmm. It always felt to me like almost like a crab, and part of it's like, so they do eat you because there's literally parts on you I can like associate to like a crab boil, and like where you I'm like, there's parts of you I know that's where I start.
Yeah.
On your face. Like
but his sister, and I don't know if it was like because her hands were different, and his sister's face actually scared me, like when I would look at the two together, and I was like, well, I mean, obviously, if both of them were running at full speed at me, all like pissed off predatory, I'd be fucking scared as shit. But if there was a moment where it froze and one of them said, "Excuse me, human, would you please take a survey based on these two monsters running at you? Which one would scare you?" His sister, for whatever, man, like her face, the way they made it, like I was like, dude, when she goes predator, like. That is something like you don't want to see. Like lions are scary. Like, you know, a lion, you just don't want to fuck with a lion. But lions also, you know, are big, lazy little bastards. and really only go beef with other male lions and don't do a lot. But like when you see a pissed off lioness, that will always look more scary than like a pissed off like lion to me getting into it. Like a lioness face getting hunting, clawing, whatever, going all fucking predator mode to me is always way scarier than like a lion. Because I feel like when a lion does it, it's like he has to like go fine, and it's like an old man like going and beefing with another old man, you know, like, and it's really not a fight. It's just kind of two huffy guys finally getting tired of it. You know, like, and that's what the lions are to me. Like, but when it's like the young lion males before they're kind of like full mane and stuff, like that's some legit shit I wouldn't mess with either. But lionesses are always had scarier faces to me. And like, I think Saru's kind, those Kelpians, man, like I bet you the females just when they get angry, because like when Saru's like natural thing took over, you know, because he was even like his eyes kind of like darted to the side like what the hell, you know, and then he like realized what was happening, like it clicked, like
right.
I wonder if hers is the same though.
You're right, because we didn't see the female defense, and it could be something even more like crazy.
Yeah, like I always
like breathing fire.
And let's face it, like most of the time in nature, especially in our home world, the female species in the animal kingdom is like the more terrifying version of whatever it is, right? So I'm just kind of like thinking the writers would probably take that, like, just it's naturally built into them a little bit,
right?
You know?
Right, the whole girl power thing, yeah.
Well, like, yeah, especially with the Me Too movement, the girl power, and like women just getting their own fucking like, hey,
you can be badass too, of course.
Too, like, moment, but also just some guy would probably be like, I mean, I know it's humans in there playing this, but when I look at a Kelpian, like, I see an animal as a writer, right? And like, if I was writing it, I'd be like, yeah, the dudes look kind of big and bad. Man, when those female Kelpians go all predatory mode, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I want it to be like that. I'm with you on that one. I fully back that idea.
Yeah, because I always wanted them to be like, because like Saru's character's like face looks a little rougher, and like I said, hers is scarier to me, but it's almost more like aerodynamic and streamlined. And like in my head, I was like, I wondered if they almost kind of played them as like the innocent thing that was like the pretty bulb, you know, for like an anglerfish or something, and then all of a sudden they just like flipped and it was like, whoo, you know, and like, but if you saw a male, you knew you were like, nah, just stay away. Like, it looks grumpy. Just leave it alone, right. You know, kind of thing. Yeah. I
like that. I like that reasoning. I like that we got to see, so we learned a few things when it came to, so when Saru, did you watch the short trek? Did you actually get to the short trek of Saru's backstory? Yeah. They kind of went through most of it in this episode in case you didn't, but did you actually watch it?
Yeah, but it was one of the things I had casting to
while
the TV
you were flooring.
While I was laying flooring, so like I more or less listened and picked my head up most of the time.
So during the time that he made his communicator and Giorgio came down and picked him up and took him away, that was while she was on the USS Archimedes, back when she was a like first lieutenant or whatever, and she's the one that convinced the captain, hey, we can, let's go get this guy. It's reaching out to us. Let's go make contact. This was while they were doing the first contact with the Baul. Like, that was all at the same time. That was the same ship. And that, I like that we got like the rest of the story around that, their first meeting when she first took him away. And we also were like, okay, and we had the Starfleet or the Federation has reached out to the Baul, and they were like, fuck you. They're like, you just stay off our planet. So that was neat. We also saw that
I sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, go ahead.
Like, that is one of the things that I think most people like about Star Trek in general, and it's one of the things that kind of like I like, about it that I really, really like about it is, like you said, Balul were like, nah, homie, fuck off. And so they're like, okay, later. Like, and they leave it be. Where in real life, in any world that we've lived in, it's a military thing. And if like someone ever responded like that, it'd be like, well, we're just gonna probably take you over then.
Right.
Like,
you're gonna love democracy.
Yeah, freedom. And I like it that there's enough people that have joined this. Okay, like we are literally just here to go. Can we look? Or you've asked to find us. We're here, right? Can we look? Blah blah blah. And then if they do, and I like it if someone's like, nah, man, you got to peace out. We don't want any interaction. And then really, if that other entity doesn't like do an act of aggression to them, just say no. Like they're like Star Trek's like vampires. Like they weren't welcome through the door, so they go, okay, all right, well, try again.
Let us know if you need anything.
Try again tomorrow. I'll be back. And like I know that's like a really simplistic way to talk about it all, but when I really get down and like think about it, it's nice to not have something that then goes, all right, well, we're just gonna go to war. Like it's cool that there's the actual discovery part of it. I like it, just kind of geeking out about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and they even go into, so we learned that the Baul were talked to by the Archimedes, and then they were like, well, what about the Kelpians? And they weren't a warp society. So then Burnham brings up the fact that, like, okay, so are we going to talk about General Order Number 1 right now? Like, we're going to talk about the Prime Directive? Like, so can we go down there? And then she, that whole conversation on the bridge where he's finally like, well, the Baul are warp capable, and they've already contacted these folks, which is exactly what we had said a couple weeks ago when I was reading it off of Memory Alpha or whatever. Is that a warp capable society has already interacted with these people and quote unquote mess shit up, or what they have done what constitutes first contact. Is just what if it was a Federation person doing it. So they're like, that's kind of how they skated around it to this time too. And he's like, hey, send the xenobiologist, and I guess we'll take Saru. I guess we'll go with Saru before he punches me in the face. Like, just get him off the bridge. And like,
well, that was like Michael also like had to come in and be like, hey, here's a million reasons why he's a really good thing. Is he done walking towards you?
Right. He's this, and this, and also won't punch you in the face right now.
Yeah, and he just told me that I replaced his sister, so I think I got like some...
I got some street cred with him.
I got some sway over here.
Yeah, and then, him running into his sister, that was sweet, and her reaction to him went like I kind of expected it to. She was happy to see him, and then, she kept getting more and more pissed when she realized, like, why'd you come back? You came back not even for us. You came back because of something else with your new world that you're in. The standard.
I feel like it was basically a family that always tries to have Christmas together every year, but at the end of every Christmas, they're always like, why the fuck do we always have Christmas together with each other?
Right. But she comes around. It takes the fact that the Baul will take, Saru sacrifices himself and goes over to the Baul ship, and they bring her up because those are the only two Kelpians who know about what happens.
I love how Saru took the mentality of like a kid, like a teenager being at a party and like their parents calling or something, and like hearing the party noise and like knowing like what the fuck's going on, and they're like, get the hell home, and the kid hangs the phone up and he makes the choice of, well, I'm gonna get screwed either way, so do I just stay out the rest of the night and like have a good time, or do I go home and cut it short? And Saru was like the guy you hear the stories about. He's like, nah, I'm staying out tonight. I'll deal with the bullshit tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's not going to be some sort of, like, what's your opinion on what he ended up doing to his planet. Do you have any reservation about the fact that he forced this change on his entire planet all at once with no warning or any preparatory thing or anything? It's a little assaulty.
No, not really.
It's a
because it was like they were beaconed there, and I know this is all just like, what's the term? Like, what's the first, like, ex machina, like all hand of God bullshit, like making it happen. And he gets down there, right? And he's already made up his mind, like he's going to see his sister. So,
well, I'm not sure he even knew it was. I mean, they were going to his. Yeah, I mean, they were going to his town, to his village first. So, I mean, yeah, but I'm not sure he knew it was her right away until, like, she turned and he's like, "Oh, damn!
Well,
like, you're a priest now."
But I think in his head, like, if I was Saru, if I'm doing that, like, I'm doing this, like, I think he was like, well, while I'm down there, like, the way he was acting, like, I may have said I'm not going to see my sister, but he's going to fucking see his sister. It just, again, it's all the hand of God storyline happening, so of course she's conveniently the one that meets him. And then at that point, it's like, you don't have your things. What happened? Mm-hmm. Like, and then, I mean, what is he to do? Go, I sneezed, like, I mean,
right. Well, I wasn't. Yeah. I'm not that he didn't tell her. It's the fact that he used the Ba'ul's network to force that change upon everybody right away, like without any. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, but it's also like they kept writing these, like, only these two things could happen. Either he goes there and saves them because he knows, and the Ba'ul are like, well, let's just get rid of the one and leave everything as it is. And of course, like, Saru's like, well, no. I mean, I can't fucking do that. Like, and the other guys that he, like, needs the change to happen, I mean, they're not going, well, yeah, I mean, I guess we could all get together and just kind of sort this out now that we all have grown, right? So it was just, they only did this black or white thing with it, the only way it could go down, and that's fine. It's great storytelling when you do it that way. So no, I really don't have any reservations about him, like, forcing this change, because at the end of the day, like, the other side was just gonna fucking wipe them all out.
True.
They were so like, I'll just kill them all, and maybe the ones that I haven't offed yet will make them throw us a few before we kill them, or whatever. I don't know. Like, maybe they will just, I mean, they were like, hey, we got 7. We can make 1,000 with that. I don't know how they reproduce, right?
Right.
Like, when they fish eggs? Like, I don't know. What?
I don't want to know.
So, yeah, like, it's the whole crazy mass, like, pubertying. Yeah, and like, everybody kind of seeming to walk out like, huh? And I feel like with the sister already kind of just going, hey, look.
Right.
And the fact that she's already, their religion, whatever.
High-level priest, yeah. They're looking for her anyways. Yeah,
so it's all this, and again, it's perfect because of the whole Red Angel thing, where it's like, I brought you here. Like you said, the characters that are on this are going to be the exact characters or puzzle pieces that need to fit these things, Like, we may get some random introduction to somebody who's like the monkey wrench, but everybody on the ship will probably be the puzzle piece, And it just kind of seemed to be, that's the only way it could go down, because the alternative was, because the way I took it was, without the Red Angel's interaction in this and making these events happen, something was going to happen, and either they were going to always stay enslaved, but I don't think that was the case. I think, like, he knew that the cycle was going to get broken somehow, and they were just going to wipe them all out regardless.
Right. I mean, that's why he stepped. That's why
he stepped in.
That's why he stepped in. There's some great theories that I will talk about here later on as to who the Red Angel is. There's one that, like, is kind of out of left field that I just read before we started, and I'm like, I don't hate that idea, but we'll get there in a second because there's two other little side stories I want to talk about real quick. So something we talked about last week, or maybe the week before, because I know we made a joke about porn with it, but they're exactly what we thought was going to happen is happening. Is there that sphere is literally Discovery's Google?
Mm-hmm.
Like and Tilly and Ariam are on it, and I tweeted it. Actually, tweeted it to the lady who plays Ariam because I loved the shot. It was one of Tilly's jokes where she's like, yeah, that's why myself and Lieutenant Ariam are going through this, that, and the other, and then Ariam, the shot they cut to is like the camera's right up on Ariam's face, but it's like only like half of her face, like right on her eye, and then you see Tilly and Michael in the background, and she's like, got it, and Tilly's like, when I said us, I really meant just her.
Yeah,
like that. I thought that shot was really cool. Like I took like
I saw your screenshot of it. Yeah,
and I was like, man, that was just a neat. And it was like striking because it's like right her eyes, all her contact, the actress's contact is all fucking cool looking, and it was just like all right up in her face. So I was like, that's pretty awesome.
That's like when you go to like well, for us, like our company Christmas party, and it's kind of always in a little swankier hotel for the most part, and they have that weird like neon, not neon, but like halo lighting in the bathroom, and like you take a picture of yourself and then all of a sudden you have like that white ring like reflecting like in your eye, and you're like, I wish my eyes always looked this cool. Right, you're like, damn it, like that's what that shot was like. Right, it was just, you went, I don't even need a filter for this, like what's up. Like this is on point.
Yeah, so something tells me that's going to be that room of like the sphere Googling is just going to be like, when we don't know the answer, let's go to the sphere room, and it's going to be the what's going to help each plot along. It's a plot progression room is what that is going to end up being. Is they're going to find it in the sphere and weed through all the porn that's on that data and find the answer they need. And the second backstory, or the second side story to the main Saru story, is Culber and Stamets, and Culber's getting used to himself again, like his body. And something we talked about last week was confirmed today, like he has scars that aren't on his body because that's not the same body. So like he's, she's asking, he's like fidgety because like his neurons are still like connecting all the places they need to get to because they're brand friggin' new. Like, babies are born, they're all like, yeah, let's just fucking hands and arms. It's because they're like getting shit to like connect right and stuff. So he's literally like, his skin's crawling. He doesn't feel like himself. And he's, and they're kind of doing that. It's not going to be all, it's kind of like a parallel to Saru's thing. It's like, you think everything's going to be great, but it's not. Like, Culber's back, but he's either not himself, or he's only partially there, or he's so PTSD that you're going to deal with that kind of stuff. Like it's a long road for him. As excited as all of us were, like when his naked self came in, they were like, "Yeah, he's here! Woo, he's back!" And it's like, oh man, there's a whole bunch of healing to do. Like, fuck, we have to get right back into that. So he's,
yeah, and I'm hoping like they do. Kind of almost like an X-Men thing with him, as like he came as well. Okay, like so, like the X-Men was, like
the term you used was X-Men. Okay, I was like X-Men. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Like you fell in radiation, and instead of dying of horrible cancer, you got laser vision. Kind of thing. Like I'm kind of hoping that he ends up getting kind of like a networky vibe thing with him as well, or something, since he was discombobulated and then brought back
of the network.
What is his recycled power now, right? Because like he has literally been created, sent through the mixer, and like brought back and popped back out brand spanking new. Like that dude has got everybody's dream right there, like coming back in prime physical shape with no fucking problems. Like, I love how they were explaining it, like, with the story about like the scar or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I don't have any of that shit anymore. Like we can't talk about this kind of, and like I get how like that would be bothering,
right?
Especially for like the very first time, right? But like I'm not saying like he has regeneration, but like what if his thing is kind of like now like he's half in, half out.
Right, with the network.
And he's like maybe constantly needs to be recycled.
Who knows?
Or something like that, you know? And like, but let's say that is his thing, and then all of a sudden he's been recycled for the 100th time. It's not weird anymore. You're just like, hey, well, I stuck my hand in that blender. It didn't work out. We know not to do that anymore kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they do something kind of off the wall with him like that. You know? Not
just, you don't want to just see another PTSD story. You want to see...
I don't want to have another poor war vet come back for some terrible ass shit that he wanted nothing to do with. Right. And be the collateral damage.
Right. You recognize that there, of course, there's going to be PTSD. I want Star Trek to take that and turn it up to 11. Like, give me that plus something else to make it, to give that curveball. You want the curveball on top of the standard.
Well, yeah, I mean, just based
depression.
I mean, if he would have came out like, oh man, this is fucking cool. Like I would have.
Where's my doctor garb? Let's go back to work.
Like, I would have never said, hey, like I think he needs to be a little more emotionally distraught. But the fact that he is, and that's how he came back, like, all right, just judging by the way homeboy was in there, and then the way he is out of it, I know he's gonna have some fucking ups and downs.
I'll tell you what, the dude's been hitting the gym in the network. That's what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Put that friggin' tank top on him, and he was like, I'm sitting here, but I'm flexing a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, and you also like how like soft and relaxed my voice is, even though I'm frantically speaking to you at the same time, right? Like, I was like, God damn, that's a good looking man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the dude's...
I was like, if I ever get recycled through like a fucking particle mixer or whatever, like, I hope I come back, one, in better shape, and two, a little bit taller. Not gonna lie, like, like
just a little bit.
Like I'm hovering at that 6 foot mark, man. But I always wondered what it would be to be like 6'3", but like a 205. You know what I'm saying? Like you work out, but you're not massive in that frame, but you're tall. Like no one could ever say like you're not tall. You'd be like, dude, I'm 6'3". Like I'm not a giant, but I'm tall. Right. Like shut up.
Right. Yeah. So that is another plot line that I'm sure we'll follow for most of this season, if not in the next season. I hope he, because I like the fact that one of the good things about Star Trek is that you're not killing off main characters, except for Tasha Yar, which we can't really, we never really forgave them for in the first place. But in fact, she was killed by a giant black gooey looking thing, and people were like, there's already connection on the internet. Like, I wonder if it's the same entity type that killed Tashiar. Whatever, it's not. But who gives a shit? It was just funny that it was like, oh, this one's trying to kill people, and we already had one that looked like that try to kill somebody earlier on in an old Next Generation episode. But I like that they brought him back. I like Wilson Cruz as an actor. I think it's a cool dynamic they have there, and we bitched a little bit last season when we were reviewing the show, saying, hey, you guys have this great couple that you then like, it's like the first in Star Trek type thing, and then all of a sudden you just like whack the guy. It's like, well, shit. It's like you had all this opportunity, so now we're going to get that in this season, and that's fine. We'll get the cool, their relationship and dealing with this problem and all that stuff. But
yeah, that's why I like, part of me kind of hopes they do superpower him, just because, and like
you want superpower so bad.
Well, no, I mean, I want, because everybody else in this show has some kind of divine thing happening with them, like right, like, and yeah, they all kind of have superpowers, like, I mean, even Michael, like, she's insanely athletic, like she's basically like Black Widow and Hawkeye on the Avengers. Like, she's a human, but she's somehow fucking kicking it with the like
demigods.
Yeah, right. Like every day, no big deal. And Tilly's got the whole now mycelial spore thing like going on,
connection. Yeah,
and Stamets has got it already. Like he's just hardwired into it. Like, the guy lived in it. Like, how can he not, at this point, the way you've written this thing, like, come back with a little bit of something of it? And to me, I don't know why he was gone. I don't know if he was just doing other acting and it changed his schedule, or if this was just the whole, hey, we're going to write this is going to happen, we're going to take the heat because this is your story, like, it just has to go this way kind of thing.
Right.
Like, well, if you're going to make this couple, tout this couple, because that was the thing, like, they touted it, you know, and then was like, guillotine, what? And so to me, he has to almost come back better than before. And I know he physically actually has, but like, there's almost kind of has to now be that, like, or his storyline with them doing like flashbacks to him being in there has to be incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be something of him where you go, damn, homie. Because, like, right? Like, he figured out that mud trick and everything else seemed to, like, die right away. So I'm already like, how did you survive more than 5 minutes? If they give me that story and that's part of his PTSD timeline healing kind of thing.
Right.
I am perfectly fine with that, because that is going to be an insane story. But if they're going to do him always, like, out of it, never flashback kind of thing, and it's just his healing now, I want them to give him a greater purpose. I just don't want him to be back for essentially Stamets' well-being.
Right. Well, yeah, because he's definitely not going anywhere now.
Yeah.
He's not, you know, we knew he wasn't going anywhere anyways.
Yeah, no, but I don't want him to come back and, like, get over his traumatic thing and then just be, like, the doctor boyfriend again. You know, to me, that would just be underselling this guy.
Which you could explore with what's going on. Yeah. Agreed. Let's see. That's most of the episode. I think we touched most pieces. So let's talk about the Red Angel. So we talked about it earlier, you know, last minute after Saru, like, number one, you like how he hulked out and, like, smashed all those drones that took their time to, like, drill into their faces. Like, he, you know, we know not only is Saru fast, but he's, like, breaking, you know,
well, now you also know, like,
restraints.
why they bring them in, like, when it starts. Not like after it happened, you know what I'm saying? Like, or even kind of like near the ending. It was
because they Hulk out.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, the little robot things like grabbed him and, like, there was, like, immediate resistance and it, like, ramped it up and was like, oh, okay. You want to go to 5, I'll go to 10 or whatever. But then, of course, there is the moment of, like, oh shit, we're all gonna die, or my personal loved one is in threat, you know, and, like, that's the whole, like, Dragon Ball Z transformation. Like, you haven't even seen my final form, like, you know, just bow, flips out, and it's and then, like, and then when he was, like, punching them and they were just like, all, I kind of laughed because it was just comical because they were like, you know.
And then he takes pieces from them and makes a transmitter. Like, makes the thing to do what it needs to do. All right. So, final things let's talk about real quick. Let's just go through a little bit of possibilities. So, the Red Angel saves the day. So, this is the first time the Red Angel has taken them somewhere and, like, watched. And I think it happened. I think the Red Angel was doing a save right before Pike saved her from the asteroid that one time. Like, when she saw the Red Angel, it was like, okay, I guess I gotta step in and, like, get you the fuck out of here because you need to be here for the rest of my plan. So, but Pike got there just in time to save her. This is the first time in the places they've been that the Red Angel has been like, well, now I gotta step in. And it shoots whatever weapon that was from whatever cloaked vessel or space-time slice of wherever the Red Angel hangs out in to save the day for this. So they didn't really like succeed in their mission. Like, whatever the Red Angel put them there for, he or she had to step in and save the day anyways.
Yeah, but maybe that's what he needed to happen.
Right. And he or she. So that's the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just using he because it's just my common vernacular.
I'm not giving you shit for it.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what it is, like, but I don't know what else, and I don't want to say it because that always just makes me feel like very degrading. Like, I hate when things are like, well, it over there, and I'm like,
it's a person,
or at least it's a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has an actual name. Like, you can call it by whatever it is. Like, right. You know.
So a few of the things going around the internet as to who the Red Angel is. We were talking earlier. It's looking more and more to be somebody either we've already met them, like they're in this crew, and it's something from the future. We know there's some time travel is involved, so it's somebody later on who's coming back to either fix things or set things right. Or there was one joke, like, we all know who it is, and they had like the picture of the Red Angel, and below it they had like the picture of Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap. Like, whenever he leaps, it has that like shimmer behind him. I was like, that'd be a great tie-in if it's Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap.
No, it's the first captain as he fell through that thing instead of getting
Lorca.
Yeah, instead of Lorca.
That's one of the theories. One of the theories is Lorca.
Instead of Lorca getting all like, just, you know, as we assumed, maybe like disintegrated or whatever, he kind of black holed it out, and now he's a little bubble through time.
Right, but it's almost like they're doing good things, and that guy literally had not a good bone in his body. So that's the only reason I count him out.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying he's not.
But like, we don't know the end game, and like, in all honesty, like, yeah, he didn't have a good bone in his body, but he did whatever he could for Michael.
True.
And like,
you're correct
and
there.
if that dude can like put on a front, basically for a crush, for like that long, I mean, I feel like if he's really was that committed and he gets a second chance to like loop in through wormholes and stuff, and if it means keeping her alive and like saving a planet to like get whatever
on her good side.
Well, not even her good side, because like, let's say it is him. Like, now I'm just gonna go off, and
let's do it, man.
And he's been time traveling. He's done the Doctor Who. He's looked at all these outcomes, and there's probably only one where it works out. And like, he needs all of these things to happen. But of course, this, like, if let's say that is the scenario, this Michael is not the right Michael. You know, like, this Michael will always say no. Blah blah.
Yeah,
blah,
right. You know? True, and that would definitely take his stalkering to like the nth level.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
like, you are the stalker supreme, bro.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna go for like a space time what not to do stalker scenario, like how to video, like this would be the way to go with it. Like, that would be a way to loop back in a guy.
Right, and I'm with you. We said this last season. Lorca, there's no way they just destroy him that way. It's more like, oh, he's absorbed in, so we'll see him later type thing. Like, they could always bring that character back for the way he went out. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's good. That is one that's out there on the internet. Another one that's really really far fetched is that if you've seen the original, not the original, but the original reboot, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. Mm-hmm. That has old Spock in it, and so you had the Romulan guys came through in their ship, and they got there earlier than he did by like 24 years. People are saying that he took Spock took the time while he was traveling through that wormhole to make a couple of stops. That's why it took him a little bit long. You know, that's why, you know, he took some time to go do some other things. Not 24 years, but the reason that it was such a difference in arriving time is because he was like, oh, I'm going to go do all this shit back here, and it would bring those timelines together. Like, those, you have the Kelvin, it would secure the whole kind of the Star Trek timelines as what's happening. I don't think that's it, personally.
No, but
some people are saying it's...
But honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised, like, especially since Spock's only here for this season. And if you really want to go, like, hey, man, there's
arguments for it.
We're gonna go
as the
all
plot.
Out. Like, yeah, there's plot for it. But I also, like, I mean, ignoring, like, let's say, the fact is, we know Spock time travels, right? Mm-hmm. Like we know that. That's
right.
That's a known. So it really wouldn't be surprising to me if, like, this Spock is possibly the Red Angel and is doing a little time traveling, and they do like a crazy little loop thing since he's only here for one season, and then it gets painted into like either he forgets or Spock's really always known, but you know, Spock, man, can keep a secret. We all know that. Like,
yeah, right.
Like so,
like the sister we never heard about,
right? Like the guy can just not say shit, and that would be fine with me. Like that would be really interesting if they did that, like where they introduce Spock in this and like he is the Red Angel, but it's one of those things where like, you know, Pike and no one ever fucking knows, blah blah blah, like you said, we never knew about his sister. Right. You know, like because we're starting at kind of the beginning. We can do whatever the fuck we want, you know, and as long as you don't really like write something that would say break 52-year-old Leonard Nimoy's like character, right? Like you're good. Doesn't matter. Like as long as that event could still happen, you're solid. Right. Nothing doesn't matter.
That's right. Yeah, certain characters in this show definitely have plot armor. Pike will never die because Pike has to go on to do the stuff we've seen already. So Pike can get into all the shit he wants to get into because that guy has plot armor and he's never going to get hurt. Not to the point where like he's going to.
And it would be cool if like. Well, that would be kind of neat if, like, and since I don't know, like, the whole, like, beginning episode, you know, the pilot, like, when...
You're the non-Trekkie, you don't know about the cage, I understand.
No, I don't, like, what I mean is, like, I don't know, is that time in the pilot the same time as, like, now, or is this, like, was that Pike actually, like, 40 years older than the Pike that I'm watching now? That's what I'm asking.
The cage would have happened... before this episode, before this Discovery stuff. The original pilot for Star Trek, the cage in the timeline happens in the Stardate happens before. So the events of the cage have already occurred as we've met this Pike. What hasn't occurred yet is whatever injury happens in the future that immobilizes him and puts him in that wheelchair and causes Spock to mutiny on the Enterprise and take it over to take him back to the planet from the cage. That hasn't happened yet. That's later on down the timeline.
Yeah, so like how many years down the road is that?
Couple. I think the cage stuff happened a couple years ago from what I read, I believe at the beginning of the season. And the stuff from that is the second season of that, which is still 7 or 8 years away. So we're not... Okay, unless we... I was just saying, it would be cool if we saw like how Pike got in the chair.
Well, yeah.
By the end of all this,
I was going to say it would be even cooler if, like, we actually got to see again his kind of like send off, like if they moved him over to the Enterprise kind of already because of like the introduction of Spock's character, so it kind of forced a shift or whatever, and there was, especially since we seem to have like a war brewing or what, like with Saru's planet. I was like, well, when does he go to the magic little cage place back? Like, was the pilot guy like, you know, 20 years older than the Pike I'm looking at now, or what? Yeah, no, I was like, that would be super sweet if we, because like I think that story is really neat, and now I want to like see that, and but I would love to see a 2019 version, a
reimagining of it, yeah,
like that would be neat.
Yeah, I would be okay. Because when we see Pike in the second season of Star Trek, the original series, it's alluded to the fact that he's been in the chair for a while. So I wouldn't be mad if the last episode of this season, when they're done with Pike, like we see what got him into that chair, like what screwed him up and like got him, you know, we're talking the guy we see in the episode of the original series, like his face is super like it's kind of like when in Revenge of the Sith, episode 3 of Star Wars, like when Palpatine finally goes to his final change into the Emperor, like where his face like melts more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when he kills Samuel L. Jackson and he like is all melty and shit. That's kind of like if you put that on a normal human face, it kind of gets all like he's all weird and like got lines and like, you know, real old looking like scars and shit on his face, you know, 60s makeup. But it looks, I would like to see how we get, if that's how they send it off, that'd be pretty sweet. I don't think they're going to, but it would be a good tie-in because we know, so hey, they're going to have to bring Kirk on fairly soon. Not that we're going to see that, but and then Pike has to go and be sad for a few years, and then Spock knows of this, and then all of that because, especially, that actually makes a lot of sense. I love when I come up with shit right now. So, Spock is willing to mutiny on the Enterprise just to take Pike back to this planet that is outlawed from Starfleet. Like, you can't go back to this planet by the penalty of death type thing. So, if the events of this season with Pike just literally cowboying it through space trying to find Spock, and at the end of it all gets him and it's caused this damage, that would if you're wanting to solidify that friendship and like I owe you my life type thing, this would make complete sense if this mission to find Spock after what's happened is what solidifies that relationship between them.
What my captain did for me to save my life, I'm going to do anything I can to make sure he is at peace.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I could see that happening this season too. We got a lot of episodes left, so Pike's got plenty of time to fuck himself up.
Yeah, all right.
And he does not seem to hesitate.
Yeah, now we should have like a Pike
pool.
Well, no, not a pool, but like a countdowner, like where like it'll like almost like put X's in his eyes, like in moments in like on the TV show when he's like getting really cowboyish.
This could be it.
It's like, oh no, he's back.
Yeah,
he's
right.
back.
I don't know if they even. I may have to go back and watch that episode to see if they mention how he was injured. Because they may just allude to it and not actually say it in the original series, which could be cool because it could leave all kinds of stuff open to it. Anyways, that's something to keep an eye out for. I like that theory. We're gonna go with that from that for a while, for a little bit at least. There's also a chance that it's Burnham from the future coming back and doing it. So later on, maybe she goes Section 31 and has some time travel stuff. I also did some research, and I may have been wrong in the fact that Section 31 had time travel. I may be wrong, so I don't know who it was reaching out to, who was doing the time traveling in DS9. I thought it was Section 31, but I don't think I was right. But anyways, it could be Burnham who's coming back, which is kind of a more straightforward thing, and it would kind of be, I would feel kind of cheap if it's her that's doing it.
Yeah, that would almost just be like
we know the show's about you,
right?
It's like, stop.
That would be a little overkill with it. Yeah. It would make sense if this was a movie. And like she was the main character, and you go, well, I only got 205 minutes on the long, right, to get this done. So yeah, but you pretty much have infinite seasons at this point until some executive goes, I think this is a bad idea, and like everyone goes, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, time to go park the Discovery out in the middle of the Delta Quadrant where no one knows where that one guy, that short trek where we talked about it while we were doing our last one of our movies or something, I think. But one of the short treks is like this: the Discovery has been left by the whole crew and been ordered to stay where it's at. But it's like we're talking like Charlie Bravo Delta Quadrant, like where no one can get to for hundreds and hundreds of years type place. Like it's out there, and like the AI has gone like super intelligent. Like it's more of like, it's more human than it needs to really be. And then it picks up this guy who just is like floating around in an escape pod or something. And they have a little like lovey-dovey relationship. And then he goes off the ship. But the whole thing is like the ship says like, yeah, I've been told to wait here by the crew. Like, you're a bajillion years from Earth. Like, how are you? Where are they? It's one of those like, it's like kind of left. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's how the show will
just
just
like, hey,
end.
here's a cute, funny story or something like that. That you like, kind of, if you don't pay attention to or read between the lines, kind of thing, you're like, oh, that was fun. But then when you go, wait a minute.
Yes.
Now I have more questions. I don't care what you just showed me. I want answers to all my questions now. You
go back to that one sentence you said the first minute of this 15-minute little short trek. Tell me what that meant. Yeah, it's exactly what it's going to be.
You evil bastards, you're geniuses. Yeah.
Yep. So the last theory, and I'm going to paint you a picture from like I think episode 1 of this season when we see Burnham arriving for the first time to meet Spock and Amanda and everybody. So Amanda, the camera is focused on the back of like young Burnham's head, and Amanda comes out of their home and she's wearing a red overcoat to her whatever white dress she has on, and it's out of focus. And she comes in, she comes into focus. She has a tiara on, and like she's in red, which is already kind of okay, you're in red, no big deal. Not always, no, because she was in blue when she's all pissed off at her when she's on the ship. But I'm getting there. So this is that whole interaction she has with her when she's like, my name's Amanda, what's yours? She's like, and she says like, I bless you, Michael. And I was like, that's really weird. Like, who the fuck says that? Like, who says that as like a how's it going? Like, I'm accepting you as like my adopted daughter. Like, I love my kids. I'd never say like, I bless you. That's weird. So
yeah, but isn't she? I mean, she's already
she's all a little bit like fruit and nuts.
Well, that, and she's already like in the Vulcan like lifestyle thing.
True, like, it could be like a Vulcan saying.
Her vernacular has probably just changed,
gone to shit.
Well, like not really. I mean, it's like when you say soda all the time and you go to some place that says pop, right? You're like, oh shit, or actually sometimes hearing someone say like God bless you when you sneeze, like Nova, not gonna hear that too much. Bible Belt, probably gonna hear it a lot more. Like, it's just how it is. So
all right, well, we'll take that scene and also the scene that we've been so confused about, like her weird like angry storm off when Michael still wouldn't tell her what she did to Spock, like to piss him off and not be there for it, not to be, nice to each other anymore. Like, I'm going to find Spock and no, I'll do it. And then she storms off with her data disk. Like, you put that all together, there's a possibility that maybe down the road or right now or whatever, she's the one who's the Red Angel. Also, because there's been her in red and her in this and saying weird things like bless you and then I bless you and then pairing that with I don't know, like that it's also a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, because that's like some Da Vinci Code shit, man. Like, that's just
it's the internet, buddy.
Well, I mean I know that, and like I know we're going over theories and stuff, but like if you're gonna Da Vinci Code it, right? Like, if you're gonna go back and pull some old ass scene about some blurry image with something, right? Like, to me, if you're doing that, you're the jackass that says, I got a video of a UFO, but I only somehow had my flip phone from fucking 2002 in my pocket. I don't know, right? And then you pull like one line of one word and stick it there. Like, basically what you've done is like you've just now wrote a like kidnapper's note to a family from a magazine. Like, that's all you're doing. You're like, I just picked out the words and shit that
I'm just
wanted
piecing this together for
to
you
make it happen how I need it to happen. Like,
right.
This one is so like bonkers far-fetched because Mama Bear's already shown that she's got no restraint when it comes to like getting with her children. If she was Red Angel powered up, I don't even think we would have these storylines because she would have already fixed all the shit.
Right. I don't think it's her either. Sadly, of all of our ideas, I like the Lorca one the best. that one makes
would be the coolest,
the most sense.
What? Like, that one would be the coolest, like, oh shit, way to bring back a villain. And then, especially if they did it for, like, it was all for you, Damien thing, but in a, like, I'm gonna get you back kind of way. Like, all right, fuck it, I get it, we're not meant to be together, but no one else can have you because I'm still fucking crazy. Right? Like, we know he's insane. I wouldn't mind seeing that dude going on some like red suited Machiavellian, like, I'm gonna move all the chess pieces across the whole space map to get her, all those bastards on that starship. And you know what? I didn't like Saru the way he talked to me that one time, so I'm going to wipe out his whole fucking planet and tease him. Whatever. Like I would love to hear his long, like, diatribe monologue, like, at the end of how he set up all of these, like, bursts that he got so mad about that he made sure basically a baby Spock was getting this shit because he's like, I know that guy is so fucking anal retentive that he will never forget about
this forever,
and he will try to figure it out.
Right. Well, it had to know. I mean, sadly, like it had to know where Burnham would run off to. So part of it's like, fuck, is it Burnham? Like from the future? Like who goes, yeah, let me go back to young Spock and say, hey, she's in the woods. It's like, shit. I hope it's not her. But like when they showed us the image of her, like it's not a real tall person. Like body, like trying to just like put the, we talked last week that like her and Giorgio, and there's also theories that it's Giorgio as well, like maybe from the future or whatever. But like the Red Angel picture, like it's a small package. Like it looks more feminine than anything.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, they've like Star Trek's also kind of illustrated that they don't take height into account a whole lot when they're like doing
CG
suits
stuff
and things that like other people have like seen, quote unquote. Like they don't make a whole lot of effort into it. I mean, like they made Saru's sister obviously like taller because they're just a known species, but I feel like the one thing they really never cared about was kind of like just depth and things of that nature in a whole grand scale a whole lot. Like,
yeah.
Because especially when it comes to like the Red Angel, like I know we kind of got this like freezy frame-ish shot of it. Like they slowed it down enough for you to go, okay, I can see what it is, but then it's like, it's gone again kind of thing. And of course everyone goes, 10 seconds, pause. Now I'm going to stare at it. But it's also like that, remember that YouTube video that came out that like the light switch one?
God damn it. Yeah.
And
thanks for that. Well, I have to go to bed tonight.
Did you ever pause it at the very end when the monster is
jumped
there
out
at the light and is staring at the girl?
No.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is pause it, and when you actually look at it, you're like, I mean, that's some solid makeup, but it's scarier in a flash. It's not. Right. It's not nearly as daunting when you're just staring at it because it's all gaped and big-eyed and shit. When it's just there, you're like, I mean, yeah, that would scare me, but the longer I look at it, the goofier it kind of fucking looks. Like,
right.
So I don't, and it's one of those things like when you put that kind of animation and emotion, and it's so. I mean, was the thing coming in with its head forward and like its legs floating back? Was it like what angle really was it coming in at to make its shape and size and all of that shit? Like, I mean, that motherfucker could just be a dot in a suit. It could be robotic. Like, it could be anything. Like,
yeah. I mean, the list of who it could be, it's like people are saying Q, where it's some sort of godlike entity playing around with humans, and that's Q, like straight out of that's just the way he behaved.
What about the dude that came to get Lorca the first time? Or Michael, like the guy that did the time traveling loop thing because he had the...
Oh, you mean Mud?
Yeah. What if Mud...
No, please don't let it be Mud. There's no way it's Mud.
Got a hold of that suit and he's setting up some bullshit. Because that...
Let me tell you what, that suit must do some... he might be wearing Spanx because that was not Mud in that suit.
Yeah, dude, but I mean, we don't know, like, again, like, well, I'm not. You are. You're assuming that suit is, like, Speedo-y.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm assuming that's just a casing that is meant to hold a human in space. Mm-hmm. So, like, whatever it looks like on the outside is pretty much whatever the designer's style wanted it to be. Like, I am personally not putting any weight into... because let's be honest, like
shape.
the femininity of that suit,
right?
Like, I don't think there's a whole way for you to like draw that, and most people would go, "That ain't a dude suit." Like it looks like a woman is housing in that suit. Mm-hmm. Yes, we agree with that. But I'm also kind of like trying to take it as this was just a clip of it. It's not like it was supposed to be a standstill thing for me to inspect. And we're in space. And because I remember Burnham's suit, like when she was fighting, like, yeah, it wasn't super tall, but she was also like 6'2" at least, like in that like spacesuit, and and it was 2 people wide, because then it hugged around her. So that's kind of like, I'm trying to like do that in my head with it, so I'm like, I mean, for shits and giggles and fun's sake, like, what if Mud got a hold of it? Because that guy was pissed.
Yeah, that's the best part about plot lines like this, is that it's so ominous and so far-reaching. It could be anybody, and when we finally learn whoever or whatever it is, we'll go, nope, didn't even think about that, which is great.
And honestly, like, I feel like if they're gonna make it someone we know, Giorgio to me is the best bet.
Right. I mean, it's even down to her, like, when are you gonna learn you can trust me, or when are you gonna learn to trust me type thing. Yeah,
and like, not even like, I mean, that was just calling the kettle black. Like, look, hey, you can be angry at me, but look, little bitch, I've actually saved your life more than one occasion. Like, and we're not even talking about the other one I actually liked more, right? Like, so, like, yeah, I'm not throwing weight into that, but like, I'm just talking about her character and her already being in this secret society of space patrol, and her, I mean, let's face it, she runs shit. Like in even the guy, like, being
Leland,
like being the boss, right? Like, she's still obviously doing what she wants within within a certain range, but she also knows that, like, if she goes outside of that range, it's not beneficial to what she needs to do, or, like, say, stay alive kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, that guy's got this power, but her power seems to run equally as parallel. Like, I don't care where you put her on the hierarchy chart, like, she's all encompassing too. So it wouldn't be like surprising if they wrote something where she's actually, say, took over part of 31, and this is like her running amok kind of thing. Yeah. But Michael,
whatever the end goal of it is.
But Michael's always the key to something within this story arc we're on. So keeping her alive is beneficial, But it's also like, I could see them doing things where, like, well, why the hell was this marker over here? Like, say, Saru's thing, right? Yeah, if we're going to go with the whole, like, we're making it happen, they need to be liberated for some greater cause. Makes perfect sense. But, like, let's say we're sticking into the Giorgio kind of thing. Like, fuck Giorgio care. She ate those things. Like, she don't give a shit. But, like, she's also smart for the long con. So, if Saru gets so displaced with his planet being annihilated, like, that does her no good too. So that's why there's the random appearance of her saving the day, because they couldn't get it fucking done kind of thing, like, oh, I thought you guys would have been done with this by now. Like, in Giorgio fashion, like,
yeah, let me just fix this, we'll try this next time. Well, looks like we get Spock next episode. That'll be fun. Finally. That's good.
I'm actually at the point, like, I'm not at the point like you were, you're like, God damn it, they need to give me Spock. But I'm at the point where, in my head, with the countdown of how I kind of thought they would do this, like, to me, they've hit their limit. Like, I don't think I don't think you can now, after the trailer for the upcoming stuff that you showed, because it was basically like Michael looking eye to eye with him and going, ho ho, blah blah blah, yada
Spock,
yada
it's
yada,
me or whatever.
Like, and it wasn't just the clip of Spock turning around, or the clip of Spock, like, fucking killing the doctors he supposedly killed or whatever, right? Like, it wasn't that.
I wouldn't put it past them, because she says at the end of this episode that she has to go back to Vulcan to, fix all of the problems that are going on right now with her family. And so if we're meant to think we find him on Vulcan, or she goes to Vulcan and finally puts the pieces together, I wouldn't put it past them for that shot of him in the cave, like over a fire, like praying, like, super hardcore, and her, like, interrupting his prayer, like, Spock, it's me. That being how this next episode, like, that's when that episode's over. You're like, okay, so I've got Spock and now we're fucking done. Like, goddamn it.
No, that wouldn't surprise me either. I'm just saying they've hit their limit, like, where if he doesn't
show up this episode.
Well, yeah, like whether it's a flashback or just like they watched video footage of Spock doing something. I'm just saying that character has to be in the next episode.
Yeah, it's it. You're done. You're halfway through. We've got to show him.
Yeah, like you're at the point where it's like, I mean, why the hell did you guys really even kind of make this a thing if you're not even like bringing him on by now? You know?
Yeah, I think we've hit it, so that's good. And we've probably hit the end of this episode of our podcast as well. What do you say? We good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now I'm awake. I was fucking tired at 9. You could have just easily went to bed and been like, yeah, we do this tomorrow. Now I'm like, well, what am I going to do for at least another 40?
Yeah, right. Well, we thank everybody for tuning in and listening to us. Make sure you follow us on social media, Two Dads Review, wherever you like to do the social medias, and find us, whatever. Subscribe to us. It's too late for me. You want to stay awake. I'm ready to go to bed. We've been talking for 2 hours, and just turn on notifications whenever you subscribe to us. Share us with your friends. And thanks as always for listening. Catch you guys next week.
See you guys.